Greetings. We welcome you to this version of worship at Granger United Methodist Church. We earlier today, on Pentecost Sunday, gathered in the parking lot for our first drive-in worship service. In this COVID-19 time, or as I've described it periodically as Corona time. We welcome you to our worship gathering, although it be in a much different way than it has ever been in the history of the church, possibly, doing this online and so forth. And Granger is attempting to reach out to our neighbors, to be a part of our community and to share the good news that we've experienced in the grace of Jesus Christ. So as we gather this day, we welcome you to this time of worship. We are glad that you've taken the time and made this a priority to worship with maybe strangers and hopefully some of you friends. As we gather to connect with one another this morning, I share with you some prayer concerns. Some of these will be more global, more national, but they are all concerns that we lift as God's people into the arms of the Almighty. We want to be prayerful for those who continue to fight against COVID-19, the healthcare workers, the families of those healthcare workers, the families of patients who may find themselves in a recovery phase from COVID-19. They may also be patients themselves who are fighting to recover from this pandemic. We pray for their well-being and their continued recovery. We pray for those who are fighting the economics of COVID-19, those who are facing home mortgages and rents, those who are unable to afford food and are relying on the generosity of neighbors and food banks and such. We pray for those who are being pinched of their basic needs, that they may also be sustained during this time. Friends, we want to also be mindful of those that are facing injustices of the systems that exist in our world, and certainly those that are being highlighted right now in our own country. We pray for those who are affected by these systems, who are being restricted and constricted of life. And so we pray for the abandoning of racism and classism and prejudices of all kinds, all expressions. We want to be mindful of the Floyd family in Minneapolis, but other families of all races and all classes throughout our country who are being affected by old systems that need to be revised, that need to be abolished altogether. And so we pray for God's shalom to give us wisdom and to give us grace. We also want to be mindful of those astronauts that have gone into space yesterday with SpaceX and NASA. We want to be mindful of their families and those that are in the space station awaiting the docking of this flight that took off yesterday afternoon. We know that you have concerns for loved ones. We know that you have praises for loved ones. And if you'd like us to be aware of those concerns and those joys, you can certainly contact the Granger office, Granger United Methodist Church office. You can go to our website if you are there, or on our Facebook. You can go there and share those concerns and joys, and we will post those for future gatherings within our congregation. So at this time, we are inviting you to connect with us, and I invite you now to prepare yourself for worship as we sing, "Surely the Presence of the Lord."